following show contains adult content. It's not our intent to offend anyone, but we want to inform you that if you are a child under the age of 18 or get offended easily, this next show may not be for you. The content, opinions, and subject matter of these shows are solely the choice of your show hosts and their guests, and not those of the Entertainment Network or any affiliated stations. Any comments or inquiries should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for listening.
To the Adventure on W4CY Radio.
Wake up, America! It's time for the Adventures of Hype Man on W4CY.com, West Palm Beach's #1 internet radio station. Here's your host, the Hype Man.
Yo! Welcome to the Adventures of Pipe Man here on W4CY Radio, W4CY.com. And we got a really killer show today because it's all about the Pipe Man Radio Tour. We are starting in a couple days. Actually, we started a couple days ago. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about an interview we had locally here in Fort Lauderdale at the Culture Room, where we went to a badass show. And then we're getting ready for Shiprocked. Only a couple more days. So we got that going on, and we got some more announcements, and we have a very special interview today on the show. If you look at my background there, okay, so this is the coolest documentary ever. It's called Roadie My Documentary, and basically it's from the crew and the roadies' point of view. And let me tell you, if you see up there, the trailer alone won awards, got mentioned for awards. I mean, like, there are lots of accolades, and I watched it. It's amazing. To me, it was just like bringing me back to my days, because I bet you didn't know this, but I too was a roadie. I didn't get paid to do it. I just did it because I wanted to go to shows, and that's how you got to the show and got backstage and all that. But and then it's some kind of special day today. But I don't know what it is because the person in charge has to come on the show to tell us. So let's bring on the incomparable Swamp Sweaty Nut.
Well, hello.
And I have to tell you, you are looking so much better in 2025. Okay, like whatever you're doing, keep doing it, because this is the best you've ever looked today.
Well, thank you. Thank you. It must be the glasses or the hat. You know, and the hat is, of course, because it's National Hat Day.
Whoa. Well,
yes, indeed.
Is our other pipe nut, Studio Nut, wearing a hat on Hat Day? Yeah, I was going to wear a hat too, and then I took it off.
Took it off?
Help, I'm hidden. Yeah, no, I did. I was going to wear a hat, but here's the thing. I was already complaining on social media this morning of like, I was driving. Okay, so I had a neck injection last week, okay, because I was going on Shiprocked, and, you know, all those years of headbanging, I have some issues. So I went and got a shot, like, you know, like an athlete. I got a shot so I could go on Shiprocked, and so I could headbang and mosh, okay? And so I had to do the follow-up appointment this morning, okay? I get in the car, in the pipe Jeep, okay? It's 62 degrees out. 62 degrees. I'm wearing shorts, I'm wearing a T-shirt, and I'm driving by people in their vehicle, okay? They're in their vehicle, and they're wearing, like, they're dressed like they're in New York at Christmas time, okay? They got like overcoats on. I saw somebody wearing an overcoat. It's funny, but AI, I think, is affecting the real world, because just yesterday I was telling my daughter like that I was watching this show, and it reminded me, like, you know, the one thing I do miss about living in a winter climate is wearing an overcoat. Like I used to like have like one for each day of the week up north. But
wow,
I don't have any now because there's no need to wear one ever in Florida. It's parkas, scarves. It's 62 degrees, people. Seriously. And I bet these are the same people, okay, that were in their cars by themselves wearing something over their mouth. Just saying. I mean, because
Sad.
like I hate to inform you South Floridians. And it's not the old people, by the way. It's not the old people. That's the weird part. It's the young people because we drank out of garden hoses and you guys have to buy $52 bottles of water. Okay. So this is why. But it's like, come on, man. Like, it's not even cool out at that point yet. Okay. And everybody can hate and all that I'm saying this. But at the end of the day, you're being a little ridiculous. Okay, I'll give you a hoodie. I'll give you jeans. I'm not giving you a parka. Okay, like.
I mean, it's as cold as it's going to get, right? So if you made the investment in buying something, you have to use it whenever you can.
Get in your car and drive somewhere colder.
Like right now, even Georgia is like snowing. Did you hear about that? It's snowing in Atlanta.
Ooh, that's cool. Let's go.
Nice.
I'd like to ski in Atlanta, like down the main roadway.
Yeah, like they were literally like they were stranded on the roads because they didn't know how to drive in snow. So they just kept slipping and sliding. So you see like drone shots of like just a bunch of cars on the road and people like trying to walk the snow.
Hey, we're going to have a little fun here for a second. Okay? Because my hairstylist is texting me like the whole show. So I'm going to text her. I'm going to do like voice text so everybody can hear me. Oh, now it's like just quoting everything I'm saying. Hey, you stop this thing.
Well, while you do that, and speaking of cold, it's also National Strawberry Ice Cream Day. So, since it's so cold in Florida that you have to wear a freaking coat, you might as well go get you some strawberry ice cream.
Okay. Hey, Bella, call this number because I can't text right now. 561-623-9429. Call me now, please.
She should know better. She should know better than to call you because she's been around long enough to know.
Yeah, but I haven't done it to her in a while, and people get comfortable, just like nobody remembers 9/11 half the time. Okay, people get comfortable. So, listen. Here's the funniest thing. I'm reading all the stuff for Shiprocked last night. Okay, so Shiprocked it's starting. The pre-party is on the 18th, and then we like Kramer take off. On the 19th. But I was reading one of the activities was like the dating game, like the 70s dating game. And do you remember Rebel? That's the perfect reason she should call in. You have it ready if she calls, right, Juan?
Yeah, I have it ready.
I'm glad I told you ahead of time.
Yeah, appreciate
it. So how much heads up time do you need? Was the 2 seconds enough?
Yeah, that was plenty.
Okay, good. Yeah, see, there's the difference.
I had a second to spare.
There's a difference between a professional and I don't know what you would call it.
Googly eyes?
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, hey, it's also National Fresh Squeezed Juice Day. So for those health lovers, y'all should go get you some fresh squeezed juice.
That's not all healthy, always healthy. So let's not go there.
There's a lot of sugars in most fruits, but if you don't add any sugar, then you'll be good. And if you squeeze it fresh from the fruit itself, it's different.
I see. Tell us more.
Yeah.
It's so interesting. Now, so Shiprocked. Okay. I don't even know. You can try going to their website and see if they have any cabins left. I don't even know at this point, But if you do, try and enter W4CY and you'll get $100 of onboard credit. But I'm not sure if they're sold out or not right now. Okay, so you know how bands, when they go out on tour, they do like a warm-up show. I was talking about this in an interview. Like they'll go play a show in a club like where nobody knows to warm up. You know what I'm talking about? You guys know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
Yeah, shaking your head wasn't enough,
Yes.
Rebel.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
some people are just listening to the show, okay?
Yes.
And so anyway, that's what I did. Okay, I did a warm-up gig. No, so seriously, one of my favorite venues in South Florida, the Culture Room. I've seen so many great shows there, and I love doing press there. There's others near there, not so much. But that one, every time I will help them and promote it. Well, a band that I interviewed at Grass Pop in June was playing at the Culture Room. So I automatically reached out to Napalm Records and I was like, hey, let's do this. And so, yeah, I was down at the show. It was Saturday. I was down at the show Saturday night, and oh, what a badass show. There were 4 bands. You're going to have to check out the interview. The band is NILE. It was brutal death metal, and oh my God, it's brutal technical death metal, which it means they're amazing musicians. So you'll have to check out the interview. Remember, The Adventures of Pipe Man the Pit podcasts. There's also Positively Pipe Man, all on iHeartRadio or anywhere you listen to podcasts. Like Pipe Man is annoying. He's everywhere. Right, Rebel?
Absolutely. Everywhere.
And opposed to Juan, who is like, Juan is the ninja that is everywhere, but nobody knows he's everywhere. He's like in the shadows.
Ninja nut.
If you were going to be somewhere, where would it be, Juan?
I don't know, in bed sleeping.
It's freaking 1:15. See, that's the problem with the younger generation, man. Like,
it's cold, man. It's cold out. I want to be underneath the covers. It's like 73 degrees right now in Florida.
Jesus.
That's cold for us, man.
So
I need a parka.
Okay.
I'm also going to give a shout out to local surf shop where I got my new pipe board, but I haven't used it yet because it's been pretty cold. And like, if I go to a cold weather climate, I'll put a wetsuit on. But if I live in a warm weather climate, I don't need to do it when it's cold. I'll just wait a few days. It'll be warm again. 58
looks
degrees.
Like they're 85.
58.
When's it 85? In Louisiana. In Louisiana, it's 85.
No, 58.
Yeah, they just read it backwards for fun.
Didn't read anything backwards. I showed it to you.
You say you don't know how to read?
We got more stuff going on there. Okay, so we are also doing media for the South Florida Fair once again. We took a few years off because, Pipe Man's been out of the country, and so now I'm here. And
Am I going for
that? Do you want to go to that?
Do you need a photographer?
Do I need a photographer? I do not. But I could always ask her if we could add you on as a another media person. But yet they changed the rules this year. Every other year you got like just for the whole fair. Now it's you have to pick days. So we could talk about that because I'm sure the listeners don't give a shit about this conversation. Okay.
I can take some really good blurry pictures for you.
You got what?
I can take some really good blurry pictures for you.
Perfect. That's exactly what we want. That way nobody knows what the pictures are of because we don't want anybody to know. You can look at the pictures, but we don't want you to know what it's of. Okay. So we got South Florida Fair. I'll be there. I might be interviewing Spread the Dub. Very exciting because there's some badass reggae. And then another return to another festival in South Florida that I've been away from because I've been out of the country. It's one of my favorites. In fact, the shirt I'm wearing right now is from there. In fact, the glasses I'm wearing is from there. In fact, my way of protecting myself in my home is from
What
there.
on earth is that?
It's a dagger.
Aha.
I'm like Dexter. I don't own a gun. I don't need a gun. You come in my house, I am going to take a dagger to your chest like Dexter. No, I actually won't, but I do. I hang it on the wall actually. That way when they come in, it's kind of like garlic with vampires. This is the garlic to the people trying to break in. And then I have this. And I was going to wear it during the show and during the interview, with the mic. I don't know if you can see it, but I was getting very afraid of it getting very close to my eye.
Okay, so you got a back scratcher, looks like, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And that's a pretty sharp knife there. So I started to do the interview that I'm about to talk about, and the blade was getting like this to my eye, and I'm like, yeah, fuck that. And so anyway, and these are my steampunk sunglasses. Okay, so I have exciting news. I have very exciting news for you.
We're waiting to hear it.
About steampunk. Okay, so what I just did an interview before this show with the person that produces the RenFest here in South Florida, and it's the 33rd year anniversary. And Pipe Man will be there to cover it. They have all kinds of new stuff, changes, and some surprise other stuff. All these things I really want to tell you.
But you're going to make him wait.
But I'll let him tell you. It'll be in the interview. Look on the podcast outlets for that interview about the Florida Renaissance Festival. Badass. I can't wait. It's so exciting. I love that. Okay, so that's on the Pipe Man Radio Tour. And then also, I will be returning to NAB. That's the National Association of Broadcasters. It is the absolute biggest conference in the world for broadcasting, podcasting, TV, radio, streaming, all of it. It takes over the whole convention center in Las Vegas. Like, it's unbelievable. Even for me, it's almost overwhelming. Like, you can't get through the whole thing. It's so big. So I'll be there in April on the Pipe Man Radio Tour. But right now, we want to take a tour to talk about some roadies, okay? And to talk about crews, because without the crews, you don't have these festivals. You don't have these concerts. And they're the heroes that are behind the scenes. And, back in my day in the 80s, when I was a roadie, there was a lot of debauchery and, shit. Thank God that they don't have records of. Thank God I couldn't be in this documentary because there's no record of what I did back then. But here's the thing, okay? They're professionals nowadays. That's the one thing I'll give to the younger generation. They actually take the arts seriously. They may not take business seriously, but so they just transferred it from business to arts. But no, seriously, it's a different world in the music world nowadays. So we want to pay homage to some of the people that are the most important people that without them, there would be no music festivals or live music or concerts or anything. And that is the crews, including the roadies. So we have a very cool documentary called Roadie My Documentary. And we are going to see it right now because not the documentary. I interviewed the producer and brainchild of this great documentary.
Oh, hold on. We're getting a call now.
We're getting a call. Hello? Hello? Hello, hello.
Better not be.
What? I didn't hear you. I only heard better not be. What'd you say?
I said, I better not be on the radio. What number?
You are absolutely on the radio.
Hold on, she fell off. You want me to call her back?
Yeah, call her back.
I better not be on the radio. That is something to hear. People should know better. I better not be on the radio, but you are, my dear. Y'all know what time it is. It's Pipe Man time.
Here it comes. Yo, Bella.
No answer.
She knows. She knows.
Hey, wait. Okay. But I'm going to outsmart her.
Oh my God. I better not be on the radio. Well,
we might have a little delay in what I was just doing.
She knows. She's not even going to answer it.
She will.
Well, she can't hear us. Not on your phone. You can hear us. And if you have it on speakerphone, we can hear her when she picks up the phone.
She's never been bashful like that.
Well, today she is.
Hey, if you're listening, Bella, that was a dumb move because I was going to promote you and everything. So, see, ghosting. It's not necessarily beneficial. Maybe she just lost reception or something. Watch for if she calls back. Well, it won't matter. We're going to just play the interview with TJ Hoffman about Roadie My Documentary. Hey, listen. Stay tuned. I'll be on Shiprocked next week. I might even do it live from Shiprocked, so pay attention. But and then starting the following week, we're going to be on, remember, 3 days a week, not 8 days a week. That's the Beatles. Pipe Man's 3 days a week. But anyway, okay. Tune in 1 p.m. Eastern Time, W4CY Radio, W4CY.com. Thanks for putting up with all my bullshit today. And thanks for my pipe nuts for saving the show, because without them, none of this would happen. I would just be sitting here talking to myself in my padded room. That would be it. So what do you think? Are you ready, Juan?
Ready. All
right. Here it is, the interview about Roadie, My Documentary.
You have questions for me?
Yeah, we're just going to talk shit a little bit.
Cool.
Give me a quick synopsis of your day when you get to the venue.
Okay, like a serious, not lying, like what my day consists of, what I do.
Yeah.
This world that we're touring in is this little bubble. We can do whatever we want, and there's lots of times where we did.
The touring world went from a bunch of outlaws to totally professional.
Everybody's replaceable in this business unless your name's on the ticket.
Sex, drugs, sex.
Hey. Hey, guys.
Yes.
I paused the interview because she's calling back. All right. So we'll bring her on the show. Are you there, Rebel?
Her mic is muted.
Hey, mute your mic, Rebel. What's wrong?
All right, I'm here.
All right. See, this is why I love live radio, because we could just fuck the whole show up in 2 seconds. Hold on. Okay, talk a little bit, guys, while I get her.
All right, so it looks pretty cool. The interview started out awesome.
We
So
could have paused at a better moment, though.
I know. Oh, right?
Like a couple seconds before this would have been okay. You know which part I'm talking about, Dean?
Yeah, totally.
Some things actually do happen, and then the
If you don't
documentary
know,
looks awesome.
rewind a couple seconds before we paused. If you know, you know.
Okay, let's talk for like a minute or two because now she didn't answer. Like I didn't answer her either, so we're being fair. I didn't want to answer till she was live, and I was like fumbling with all the keyboard and stuff to get things all screwed up.
We're playing tag with Bella. She figured she
Answer
was
the
okay.
phone, biatch.
She figured she was okay because she's probably watching at this point, and she figured that.
Hey, so I just said answer the phone, biatch, and then you answered.
I didn't even hear. What do you mean?
I know. I said it right before you answered because you are live on my show. Hey, Rebel, can you hear her?
Slightly. It's hard to hear her.
It would be better if I call her.
All right. Listen, I'm gonna have my engineer call you back. Answer the phone. Don't.
No, I can't. I have to go. I need to drive to Melbourne.
I know, but I'm gonna promote your shit. So call. He'll call you. Answer. Answer.
Dean, I have like 5 minutes.
That's all. I didn't even have 5 minutes. I'm doing you a favor. Shut up and hang up, and he'll call you.
Oh my God. Goodbye.
Okay.
And that's a nice way of handling things.
Listen, you gotta get shit done, man. I don't have time to sit there and try to like talk her into it.
No. No, indeed.
Ooh, did she hang
This is
up
fun,
on
though.
us?
Says it's unavailable.
Do it. Call again. Fuck that bitch. Can I say that? Am I allowed
You just
to say
did.
Oh, okay.
You just did. It is what it is. Boy, that guy on the air there next to us seems to be pretty happy. Anyone recognize?
Answer the phone.
Oh my goodness. So, can anybody recognize the guy that we're paused on?
Yeah, now I'm. Oh, she said it's not ringing. All right.
Yeah, it's not going through.
Hold on.
The things we do.
All right.
The things we do.
Hey, call back to the number I gave.
Phones these days. Boy, I am so glad that we didn't have devices like that. Oh, once upon a time. So we were never caught on.
When you watch
here we go.
We got her. Hello.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Okay, you're here with Rebel. You remember Rebel?
Hey, Bella.
Hey, Rebel. How are you?
Doing well, thank you. Thank you for participating in this.
And then I have Juan, who is the engineer and in the studio in Wellington. You never met him, but I'm sure he's probably part of your family somewhere. Look it up on
You're funny. I was gonna say, honestly, my brother's name is Juan. I'm like,
right.
Juan?
That's
Brother?
why I'm saying that.
Yeah, and that's funny because I don't have any brothers. I only have sisters.
How funny if
No
it would
way.
have been, Bella, if it was your brother.
Yeah.
So I gotta tell you something, Bella, but then I have to tell all the listeners like how great you are at hair.
Oh Oh, I love you, Dean. Thank you. I appreciate that.
But first, I have to tell you something that's funny. Okay. So
Okay.
I'm going on Shiprocked in a couple days, which is that festival cruise. I think I told you about it, right?
Oh, yeah. You did tell me about that.
And remember, you're live on the air, so anything you don't want the whole world to hear, don't say it, okay? Just letting you know.
Here we go.
But anyway, so I was just literally, this just proves that AI is taking over everything and listening to everything. Because just last night, I was going through the whole Shiprock site to see all the things I need to do and everything I need to know. And basically, there's one night that they have a thing, and it's the dating game, like the 70s dating game.
Like on the cruise?
Yes. So
okay,
it totally like so funny. So everybody that doesn't know, that's the day I met you, was when we did the same shit on this show. How many years ago was that? How many years ago is that?
I mean, I think that I was like 19 or 20.
You were definitely 19.
I'm 36 now.
Yeah, you were. Yeah, you're old now. You definitely 19 then. So yeah. So
oh, God.
That's 17 years ago. Can you believe that?
I cannot believe. I cannot. No,
I mean, that's almost
that's
longer than you were alive at the time.
Oh my God.
Just to put things in perspective.
You know what? When it hits 20 years, we should like somehow find it. Are you able to pull that like?
Oh, I can pull it in 2 seconds. I can pull it in 2 seconds. I have it. I'm super organized.
I want to listen to it.
Okay, I'll find it and I'll send you a link. You can listen to it. So
okay,
maybe we should have like everything else, okay, in TV and movies and everything.
A reboot.
It's a reboot, like because nobody has creative ideas anymore. So we're just gonna reboot our old dating show. Okay, so.
But we have to stick to the same rules that was in place back then. Okay, so you have to do it like authentic. That's something they don't do.
And
they
I
don't
will
do
bet
authentic.
you 1,000,000% if you change the person's voice and you blindfolded, because you'd have to change the voice this time too. I would, just like I said back then, I would pick the same person, because I did say that. I did say that to Badana. Remember, I said that to Badana. I'm like, okay, that was that was what she was trying to prove. Badana won at that point in time. She came up with this idea of this dating show, and it was all done by radio because we weren't doing video then. And we did it live in the studio with the live contestants in there, and with my old co-host Ruthie. And so Badana said straight out, she goes, I want to do this so I can prove that if you can't see them, you'll stop picking young, hot psycho chicks. Word for word,
God.
that's what she said.
And you still pick the redhead.
And I said to her, I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't bet your life on that one, okay? Just like my 2 youngest daughters, they bought this sign. It's up in my bedroom right now that says, my next wife won't be crazy. Now, the fact that they're talking about their own mother should tell you something. But my response to them was this: yeah, I wouldn't bet on that.
I wouldn't bet on that.
You know,
we're all crazy one way or another.
Right? Remember, I used to do all the calls all the time, and I used to call you too. I used to do the prank calls to females I knew, and would ask them, "Are you a psycho bitch?" I've yet to have one say no.
I mean, you really can't argue. It's like, well, a little bit, at least, right? Would be the answer. A little bit.
Absolutely. So I gotta say, in all these years I've known you, like I've known you since you started doing hair. Okay.
Yep.
And you kind of sucked then, but
Well, of
but
course.
but it was okay.
You
You were just doing it on my kids in my living room, and so I
Oh
took it.
yeah.
I
The
took the heat
blonde
for
was
that.
coming out orange. It was a journey. It was a journey.
Totally. And then but anyway, you are badass now. And I don't care. I don't even care what I say. You're a really good hairstylist and all the stuff that you do. So why don't you tell everybody everything you do and how they can contact you? And everybody knows that I would never trust somebody with the pipe man's hair unless I knew they were good. And proof of that is I didn't let you touch my hair back then. So
yeah, that's true. You're right. I didn't even
See?
think about that, honestly.
See?
You used your kids as
Yeah,
guinea pigs.
Yeah, exactly. So, I've been in the industry for 16 years now, and I specialize in a couple of things. I do balayage, which is like a more lived-in color, like surfer, beachy girl hair. I do
crap.
weddings.
I always heard that word and I thought it was like some porn thing.
What, balayage?
Yeah.
Stop it. Dean.
Okay, go on.
No,
Sorry.
you did not.
I did. That's the first thing that came to my head. All right, go ahead.
So, I do balayage. I do hair and makeup for weddings. I do those fun, vivid, funky colors. I do redheads. I'm starting to get into extensions now. I'm really excited about that. But if you are in Palm Beach County, come see me. You can find me on Instagram. It's Bella Balayage Hair Studio. No, it's not porn. I promise. But yeah, thank you so much, Gene. I love you.
Oh, I love you too. But what I really love is when you do my hair. I mean,
yeah, tomorrow.
Tomorrow. That's why you're here. Like, cause so we gotta straighten this shit out. You were texting me. I'm like trying to do my live show, and you're texting me. So I'm just like, all right, just call up, and then you could just tell me live on the air.
Yeah.
But I do want to say, like, as far as the colors go, one of the things I really love about what Bella does, and you guys all know that I have these funky colors, and they can be pretty messy. Well, I'm very particular, and I love that she makes sure that everything is so covered that I don't get my skin stained. Because, there's so many out there that's like they don't even take that extra bit of time that it takes to make it look better and be easier. Because there's nothing worse. I don't want to look like, from Willy Wonka and have a whole blue face. I just want my hair blue. Okay.
Right. Exactly.
That could be fun. Nothing wrong with Smurf looking.
So Bella, tell them again how they can hit you up on socials, or if there's a web or any other way you want them to contact you.
Yeah. So Instagram, it's Bella Balayage. It's together. That's it. Bella Balayage.
Can you spell that for people?
BELLA BALAYAGE. Balayage.
Oh, see,
also,
I thought it was balayage. That's why I thought it was porn. That's my mistake.
Wow.
I'm so sorry.
I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
No, you really don't.
Yeah, and you can also look it up on Google. I'm on Google. What else? Facebook. If you just put in Bella Balayage, it'll all come up. That's
Listen.
it. I'd love to have you take a seat. Callie, I'm on the phone right now. I'm on the radio. Yeah, it's loud. I know. All right, guys. Well, I have to go, but it was so nice to meet everybody.
And get off my show.
Thank you for shouting me out.
Yeah, my pleasure. Now get the hell off my show because I got more important guests to come on. All right.
You're welcome. Okay, bye. Whatever. See you guys. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, so should we try to go back to this now? Hey, wait. So we could oh, that's a question. Hey, Juan, do you have to engineer a show at 2?
No.
Okay, so we could essentially still keep playing this interview, and it's not going to ruin anything.
True.
Not for me, no.
Okay, good. Won't ruin for me either. Rebel, you have any other things to say before we go back to the interview and the documentary and all that good stuff?
Well, I want to tell you good luck with your hairdo tomorrow and have fun on the cruise. And I'm looking forward to check out this interview.
Well, I'm going to give some hints. I don't really know 100% what I'm going to do with my hair yet. I did decide I will not do it blue because I'm going out to sea. That would be kind of stupid because the minute I get in the water, that blue will be gone.
Yeah, you should do orange so it's easier to see.
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
Just like that's bright red.
That's what we were discussing right before I got on the air was something, and she said the word orange. I'm like, I am not going to be orange man, okay? I'm pipe man. I'm not orange
Just
man.
keep in mind if you go orange or red, if you go into
I wouldn't go red either. I'm going to go into something where my hair is not going to be nothing after 2 seconds. Like, so
if you went in a chlorine
there's
water,
one
like
of my
the
hints.
restroom in the pool.
There's one of my hints. Whatever I'm doing in my hair, it might be something that makes sure that it doesn't lose any color in the water. That's
Brown.
one hint.
Or blend in with the water.
Right.
Or it look like urine.
The other hint is that there is an 80s theme on Shiprocked. And I'm just going to say
We're going with the
it might have to do it. It might have to do with porn. I'm
It might
just
have
going
to
to
do
say.
with porn.
We're going with pink.
I'm just going to leave it right there. It might have to do with porn. Okay. And if you can put all those hints together, let me know what you think it is and send it in a DM to my socials. Anybody that's watching, anybody that's listening, and you'll be entered to win tickets to either Rock the Country, Rock the South, Welcome to Rockville, Sonic Temple, Bourbon and Beyond. And we have more coming. So, Rebel, get the hell off my show. One, she really did.
No, I kicked her out.
Oh, yeah. I heard it too. It was so loud. It was brutal. It was like, it really was a kick, man. It sounded like somebody kicked the screen and she was gone. Okay. So, do you want me to roll it or you roll it, Juan?
I can roll it.
Okay, I'll roll it because I think do I have to roll it because I'm the one that paused it? Is that what it is?
No, I can do it on my end as well.
Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Okay. Rebel.
Yes.
You're going to do a countdown like it's a game show. And both Juan and I are going to hit the buzzer and let's see who does it first. Okay. Ready?
Yes.
Here comes the documentary interview.
4, 3, 2.
People go, oh, you're a roadie? I go, yes, but it's not quite what you think it is.
You know, they don't get the glory, but these shows wouldn't happen without these guys.
This is Pipe Man here on the Adventures of Pipe Man W4CY Radio. And I'm very excited about the next guest for many reasons, but one of the biggest reasons is I got this email about the documentary, and I was like, now that's an interview I want to do because that's got to have some really cool stories. Because if you're going to get the best stories, it's going to be from the roadies. So let's welcome to the show TJ Hoffman, and let's talk about your documentary or my documentary, but it's yours, so it's not mine.
So, how you doing today, Piper?
Hey, how's it going?
Awesome, thanks.
So, first of all, tell me how the first time you ever roadied, how did that happen?
Oh, geez. It was kind of more or less some friends of mine were working for a local band in Jersey, and there was a club. Actually, a couple clubs at the time, but they had a lot of gear. They had like double Marshall stacks, big refrigerator cases, and they needed help getting the gear up the steps. So more or less was, Teach, can you come help us lug these things up the steps, muscle them up, and you get to drink for free. And then after the show, just help us carry it down. And it was a pretty decent club. It was 80s. It was hair bands. It was a lot of girls and free beer. And I was in.
So I'm a Jersey boy. Which club was it?
So it was a club called Sneakers back in the day.
I remember that.
North Jersey. And then that led to like Studio One, Cricket Club, Birch Hill, Club Benet. It was the whole, East Coast, Central Jersey circuit at the time.
So here's a trip. Okay. So I was born in New York, grew up in Jersey till 1980 when I was about to enter high school. And my dad comes to me and goes, pack your bags. We're moving to California in 3 days. And so we did. And, then funny, after high school, I went back to Jersey to go to Rutgers, and because I miss Jersey. And then I'm manager of this place on Route 9 called Harrow's. And so, yes, I'm very familiar with the whole Old Bridge scene there too. But it's interesting because for me, what happened to me was the first show I ever went to in a club in my life was at the Roxy on the Sunset Strip. Had to be 80, maybe 81. And it was Motley Crue.
Wow.
Before they had an album. There wasn't even an album yet.
Cool.
And I remember going into this club to watch this show, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm never going to a real concert ever again. This is the best shit ever.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you walked out of that club and you walked up with them like a whole entourage of the fans that were there, and you went up to the Rainbow. And I was like, I don't know, 13, 14. And I'm hanging out at the Rainbow with Motley Crue and with Lemmy and Ron Jeremy.
Yeah.
And as you can imagine, the women that were in that night.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So the Sunset Strip for me, ironically, there's a club, the Roxy, in New Brunswick.
That's true.
And I went to high school in New Brunswick, and one of my first shows that I paid attention to and really got into it was Billy Idol, and it was at this Rutgers Student Center. And I believe that was 85 or 86. And that was my first shock to, wow, this is pretty fucking cool.
Right? And then, as you know, and maybe a lot of people don't know that are listening or watching, like, I ended up after that show, like going to the Sunset Strip all the time, or the Troubadour or the Country Club in Reseda. And I would just like offer to help and be roadie just to be there and go backstage. And there's so many things that I probably don't remember, because you know what they say, if you were in the Sunset Strip in the 80s, and you remember it, you weren't really there.
Right,
but
right.
It was like, it was so cool. I went to Metallica, one of their first shows ever in LA, like probably their first like real show ever. Same with Slayer. But the Metallica one sits out in my mind. I've told this story before, but I think it's very apropos for this. So I'm sitting out there, and the guitarist gets off stage after playing and comes up to me, introduces himself, and starts talking to me and hands me his business card. And it said, Metallica Power Metal Dave Mustaine. And then next thing I knew, me and all my friends were headbanging to Whiplash at their house and partying all night long.
Awesome. That's a great story.
you know?
Yeah.
So, and I'm sure you have 10 million stories. That's why I wanted to do this interview, because the roadies definitely have the stories. And then the whole journey of your whole career to this day, and then to come out with this documentary, I think it's amazing.
No, I appreciate that. You know, it started as a more or less an unscripted type of series that we were pitching in the LA scene, going back 15 years or so ago already. And music, television, legal, licensing, the whole thing kind of would bang heads constantly. And I had a shelf that idea for a little while. And in the meantime, I decided, for all the footage and all the work and money that I put into it, I just started to build the documentary. And what I wanted to do was paint a picture. I was kind of want to be that Michael Moore type of investigative guy that goes to a venue and come follow me and let's go see what's going on, you know, peek behind the curtain. And as my interviews progressed and the story evolved, and my story, a lot of my footage that I had from the 80s and 90s were placeholders as we were, you know, building the timeline of the film.
Yeah.
And my producer, my editor, Andy Stroll, and a couple other guys saw it and said, this is the way to go, you know, more TJ in the story. And I didn't want that at all. So it evolved to what is now my documentary, which, you know, as you know, in the film business, other things take lefts and right turns constantly.
Yeah.
Just like the music business does. And this is the best that I could do at the time with what I have. And that's it.
And, you know, I got to say, like, one of the things I thought was really cool, because it is like that, like, unlike the debauchery that I experienced when I was a teenager of the roadie backstage life, man, it's such a professional industry now. And I thank God you weren't there filming me, because I don't want any record of anything that went on from at least 1980 to 1985.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I made this film starting with my friends and family and peers in the business. They trust me with the camera. I mean, I very easily could have made a really smutty film, probably made a lot of money, but I'd never be involved in the music business again. I'd lose a lot of friends. And that's not what this was about. So I got the trust of my friends and family on the road. And they introduced me to other people and more professional techs and roadies and tour managers and people in the business that evolved to getting to the level and the access that I did. So without that, I don't think I could have made this film, because nobody really wants to hear just my story about me being a punk kid from Jersey, carrying, you know, cabinets up, drinking beer, and then getting clean on the road. And then, you know, trying to tell my story. It's not that interesting. But the whole encompassing roadie profession, I think people are interested in.
Yeah, because I don't think a lot of people even really know what that entails. You know, I think, as Eddie Trunk put it, they're like the most important people to make the show go down.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was part of my goal when I set out to do this, is to really paint a picture. So when people pay that money, 100, 200, and even at festivals now where it could be over thousands of dollars to go see a show, they have a little better understanding that, you know, it's just not the band making millions of dollars. It's the production aspect of it. And these guys are true professionals that earn their pay, you know, every single show. You know, these tours start months and months before the first concert, per se, in a venue or at a theater. And, you know, they're leaving their families and wives and everything way earlier than the first show. So it's a profession that's not for everybody. And I wanted to give them accolades and humanize the profession as well.
And I love that, because it is a profession. It's a lot of hard work without a lot of accolades. And nowadays, okay, like, thank God it's professional, because what went on way back in the 80s probably wouldn't survive today, because there's no record labels just throwing like millions of dollars at these bands to go party, you know? nowadays. So it's like it really did change the image of the music and the industry, and I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's another reason that I wanted to tell my story of getting clean and getting sober on the road. You know, a lot of these guys that have great stories and did battle some demons on the road, you know, they're still in the business, they're still working. So to come out and say that, it might have tainted some of their future work, right? So I kept it as professional as I can with those people, and I'm not afraid to tell my story. It's just part of my life now, and I hope through this film it would paint a picture of the music industry, but also people that might be struggling about recovering and overdoing it, whether in the music business or not. I hope that maybe I could help them a little bit as well.
That's amazing. And as we can see in my background here, you have received like not only, mentions of awards, but actually won awards, and there's quite a few. So that's pretty amazing. How did that feel?
Yeah, no, it was great. So a lot of those awards and festivals were for the trailer also. So the very first trailer that we did, it was kind of a mix between the unscripted series that I was producing and the film and the interviews. We just threw all this stuff together. So I was trying to get some financial help right in the beginning.
Right.
And it just took off, and it was well received. And, after you get a couple of mentions in film festivals or screenings, I started getting the calls. And then it was, okay, I got to finish this film. People really want to see what's going on. And it was released about 5 years ago. We debuted it at the Garden State Film Festival in Asbury Park. And it won for Best Documentary, Homegrown, from a Jersey filmmaker. And from there, I just entered it in a couple of more, again, with the idea of trying to get it noticed. Because what I really wanted this film to be was the pilot episode for a recurring series.
I love it.
To continue to follow these guys on the road, because it's really interesting, and it's pretty easy to do from a music guy making a series or a TV show, in the Hollywood scene, as opposed to a Hollywood guy jumping into the music scene. It's always a difficult thing to take direction from.
Hey, listen, it's no different than like when I do all these festivals and I hear other press people there that I can totally tell are not metalheads when they're interviewing metal bands. And I'm like, man, if I were the band right now, I'd want to slit my throat.
Yeah. They know nothing about the band. They're just there. They got the free pass for the weekend, and they're just kind of hanging out. Yeah. I'm with you on that. That's frustrating.
Right. Especially in this genre, because like it's a passion. We're a family. Like I love when people say to me, okay, I'm 58 years old. And when people say to me, I used to like metal, I'm like, then you didn't like metal. Like metal's not something you used to like. It's a thing that's in you that never leaves you, no matter where you head in life.
That's true. That's true. And the same thing with punk rockers and hardcore kids and all that stuff. It's in your blood.
No doubt. And that's another thing too. What I am really happy about today is I was a long hair in the 80s that wanted to go to punk shows and couldn't because you get your ass beat. Just that, and it's funny because like a couple years ago at Hellfest, I was interviewing Discharge. And like, I loved you guys my whole life. And this is the first time I got to be in one of your pits, Yeah. Because you just couldn't do that then. So I love how it's come like this. The way I always thought it was stupid back then, because the metalheads and the punks, at least in LA, were always getting, picked on and bullied and beat up at school, but yet we were against each other. We should have banded together, and it's the same similar attitude, type of music. So I love that here in 2025, we're all one big happy family, whether you're hardcore, punk, metal, doesn't matter.
Yeah, and I think you see that at a lot of the festivals. I remember in 1999, I was with Agnostic Front, and we were playing the smaller stages. But Eminem was on that year. Black Eyed Peas, the eclectic mix of music, to cross pollinate different genres was amazing. And I think that Mr. Lyman did an amazing job in those early years of really getting the youth and the kids involved in, the skateboards and all that stuff with, and crossing over to different types of music for these kids. It was brilliant. And, like you said, fast forward 2025, the music really keeps a lot of us together, and people really drop a lot of the bullshit when it comes to seeing a band, right? It brings us all together.
No doubt. It's so funny. Like just a few days ago, Bonnaroo promoters sent me, stuff for covering it and the lineup. And I'm looking at the lineup, and I don't do Bonnaroo because not my, I won't interview bands that I don't like. Okay. Right. That's just dumb. My job is to promote it. If I don't like it, I can't promote it. So I looked on I looked at the list, Megadeth. I'm like, Megadeth at Bonnaroo. That says it all right there. That's
great. That's great.
I mean, you would never imagine. And, all the Danny Wimmer festivals here is masterfully combining genres and putting bands together. And then you go to these festivals and there's 100,000 people and nobody's an outsider. We're all one big family. And it doesn't matter what we like.
Absolutely. And that's the same thing with the road crews too. A lot of these guys will bounce around from jazz to some R&B and work for many different bands. And that another thing too, that just keeps us all together as one family. There's never a broken bond when it comes to music.
So tell everybody how they can reach out to the website, socials, where they can watch the documentary, all that good stuff. It's pretty much on everywhere you can watch it.
Yeah, it pretty much is these days. Roadiefilm.com is the website. That'll link you to all the avenues of where you can watch it. Facebook and Instagram is Roadie Film. And the easiest way to see it right now is on Amazon Freevee.
Nice. What would you say is your favorite piece of feedback that you got from somebody on this documentary?
Wow, that's an interesting question because I do get a lot of feedback. Very rarely do I get something negative. I did. That's
shocking in 2025 to tell you the truth. That says a lot about how great it is.
Yeah, I wanted to be honest with myself and with the profession. And again, I said in the movie, I did it for a long time, but I did it part-time. There's guys that spent their whole life out there. Those are the guys that really deserve it. But those guys that I think maybe could have made a better movie and maybe told some things that I missed can't do what I did because they're out working. Right. So I got the thank yous from a lot of peers in the industry, other roadies and techs, that said, thank you for giving us a light because I can't do it. I have to work, right? Their tours are 10, 11 months a year. They go home and they want to just focus on the family when they're home. So they don't have the time. So I think the best, reward that I got for making this film was just that of other, real professional roadies and techs thanking me for what I was doing, which, I still get goosebumps to this day with some of these guys who are my idols as a roadie, thanking me. So that was pretty cool.
See, I love it. I was getting goosebumps just hearing you say it. So I love that. What would you say? Is there any story, good or bad, crazy or not, that sticks out in your mind most of your whole life in this music area?
There's so many. It's so great. Right? So blessed and fortunate to have experienced what I've experienced. So I started in the big hair. I worked for a band, they were called American Angel. They started about the same time Skid Row did. And they were neck and neck for a long time. And then, the story, Skid Row, Doc McGee, and they blew up, and American Angel stayed in New Jersey. And then that kind of imploded. So I saw the 80s big hair bands. Then I went to work for MOD and Billy Milano, right over to that kind of metalcore. You don't have to say anything more. Billy Milano.
Right.
He was managing Agnostic Front. So then I got to go work in the hardcore scene. So I was at CBGB's and the Wetlands and all the Lower East Side clubs, and then right to the festivals in Europe. And I got a whole movie of Stigma stories. I could tell you stories about Vinny Stigma. And then I got working for Skid Row in 99. They were called another band at the time. And then Snake, Rachel, and Scotty, and got a drummer, and Johnny Solinger, and we were the opening slot on the Kiss tour in 2000. So I went right to Arena Rock. So that chapter has a bunch of stories, and a lot of that I was drinking and drugging during a lot of those years. I did a lot of it sober, so it was back and forth. So every tour, every venue, every different parts of the world that I've been to has a great story.
Yeah.
So I'm just so blessed and fortunate that I got to travel the world. I guess I got paid because I did bring some money home, but it was nothing. I didn't even care about the money as much as I wanted to just be out there and experience life on the road with the band.
Yeah. It's not cut out for everybody, but for the people it is cut out for, it's freaking amazing. Like my youngest daughter, I'll bring her sometimes to festivals, and after the first day, halfway through the first day, she'll be like, Dad, I don't know how you do this every weekend. I'm done. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't know how I don't. It's like right now I'm about to go out and do coverage on Shiprocked in a few days. But I've been in the off season, and I'm kind of like Jones, and I don't think I've left my house like most of the month because what that feels like.
Absolutely, and I'll see you on Shiprocked. I'm part of the team out there. So
yeah, Christine was telling me.
I do it every year. It keeps me engaged in the scene, and a lot of my friends that not only play on the boat but are on the same crew year after year. And towards the end of my touring career, I was working for Ignite out of Orange County, and we were planning tours around our vacation time. So it was, a festival, a couple of clubs, and then Brett would say, we got 2 days off in Vienna, or a day off in Paris, and we're going to the Louvre. And he worked it in where it was fun. And when you're touring with a band who is your friends, it makes it so much easier to go away for 2, 3, 4 weeks at a time. Yeah. So I was really blessed to be a part of that as well with those guys. And there's just nothing like it in the world.
Yeah, I mean, and it is important that you're friends, because like you're spending 24/7 on the road, you better be really close.
Yeah, I said in the movie, you can't be a punisher, especially on a tour bus, across America, or you go wherever, even in Europe, it's tight, close quarters, and your home is a bus, and you have to get along with people and adapt, and nobody wants to be that guy on the road. And I've spent a lot of time, interviewing different other techs and roadies, and I would sacrifice musical skill or roadie capabilities for somebody that I could really live with and get along with, that didn't, drive everybody crazy. And not only me, but the band. If you have a guy who's just doesn't get along with people and is miserable or got problems at home or whatever, is always complaining, nobody wants that on the team, and that they got to go.
Yeah, I wouldn't want that. Not even for 5 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
So I have a trivia question for you.
Oh boy.
I do this a lot, and it is kind of fun. And so I'm going to use a little Jersey in it and a little music in it. So I went to this show at we used to call it the Pig Pen, but Art Stock's Playpen. Okay.
Route 35.
That's right. I lived right by there. And at the time, I didn't know what I know now, but there was this band playing there, and their name was Soft White Underbelly.
Wow.
Do you know who that band is?
I do not. There was a lot of touring bands in that time of year, like Edgar Casey was a great cover band. Xenon came out of that. So I'm think you're leading towards that. The name of this band was an undercover name for a major act.
You are right. And so it was their original name when they first started, and then they changed it to the name everybody knows them by. And I didn't even know. And I walked in there and I heard this song, and I'm like, oh my God. It was Blue Oyster Cult.
Oh, wow. See, I never would have guessed that.
Right?
Wow.
And then down here in South Florida, I had this girl I was dating, and there's this place down Fort Lauderdale. It's called Cheers, and they have what's called karaoke there, which is like punk metal karaoke, but they have live bands there. And so she's outside the club one night, and she calls me up, and she's like, man, there's this Maiden cover band. They sound exactly like them. And then she walked in, and she calls me back. She's like, it's fucking them.
Oh, wow.
Because Nico has a restaurant here in Boca. And so before they would go, or Iron Man would go out on tour, they would go play a show like that under some pseudonym, as you know. And it's like, this place was smaller than the Troubadour or CBGB's or L'Amour's or any of those places. And they were playing there, but you wouldn't know. You would just walk in and be like, oh my God.
That's great for the band. That's great for press. It's a nightmare for the roadie. I'll tell you that.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. And I tend to think with the bands, maybe they kind of like it because it's their only like connection back to old times, playing clubs and having that intimate thing going on.
Yeah. Motley just did those couple of days at the Whiskey, bringing it back. And I went through all the phases. So I saw the club scene. I've been in VFW halls and played for the 75 Kids, and then Lowlands in Europe and Rock Am Ring and all these Dynamo, the big giant festivals where it's 100,000 plus.
Yeah,
there's nothing like the intimate shows where you're really part of the crowd, and you're getting beers thrown at you. You're that close to smell their breath, type of thing.
Yeah, totally.
Nothing like that.
So is there anything else you want to let the viewers and listeners know before you go that we haven't covered already?
Oh, geez. I think that if you're curious about the profession, or you're not sure, or you're a little bit curious about me, go to Amazon. It's free. And after 7 minutes, if you don't want to hear my mouth, you can always just change the channel.
Let me tell you something. They're not going to change it after 7 minutes. It's an amazing documentary. And I love the inside view that you give that nobody has really given before, and giving all the important people that a voice that really don't usually have a voice. They're the behind the scenes people that make it all happen. Without them, there are no shows.
That's true. That's true. And I think there's a lot of these bands will be the first to admit that and give kudos to their crew. They work hard.
Absolutely. And that's why I thank somebody like you, because you've made it possible, and people like you have made it possible for all of us to enjoy live music. And to me, live music's the best therapy there is. And so thank God we have everybody that's involved in a live show.
Absolutely.
From wherever part they are. And thank you for making this documentary, because I got to tell you, it's amazing. And I think everybody will more appreciate all that goes into a live show and maybe stop bitching about it.
Yeah, for sure. Liz, I appreciate your time and for having me and letting me talk my shit here a little bit. Much appreciated, Piper.
Always. And I'll see you on Shiprocked.
Yes, see you in a couple next week. Wow.
Yeah, it's not even a week. Like we're leaving this coming weekend.
Yeah, that's right. Phew, goes fast.
There
Excellent.
it is.
Thank you so much, my friend.
You got it.
Cheers.
Thank you for listening to the Adventures of Pipe Man on W4CY Radio.